All right. Here we are. We finally did it. We're finally here. I'm nervous. It's weird. I don't have music playing in my headphones. See, John does this all. Like I do interviews on podcasts, but like I've never like starting your own is weird. And now we've been talking about this forever.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's two schmucks essentially. Like, well, John's not a schmuck, but me schmuck with you and John. You know,
yeah,
John
schmuck number one and schmuck number two, and then me,
and then you,
the all-star of this whole
the grandfather schmuck.
Grandfather schmuck, yes. So, if Paul, introduce yourself. If people don't know Paul Paul is like our bench merch guy.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely I'm the bench warmer. If Kent ever has to go do something better than Shinedown, they call me in to fill in.
But you also have your own gigs doing the same thing, and you also had a new gig until you were going to be working for the Beebs until
I was supposed to be working for the Beebs the Rona, man. I mean, it hit and crushed everything. So I'm now an Amazon schmuck, sticking it to the man, you know.
There you go. Just do it the right way. And everybody knows John. We don't need to introduce John. John is Shinedown's head of security.
The cool thing with Paul, though, is, Zach, which show did you go to where he got us into the show? Mariah Carey.
J-Lo. I wish it was Mariah
Carey.
Same thing. And, dude, that sweater, the sweatshirt, the J-Lo
I still wear it all the time.
I get more. That's the most comfortable. I wish it said like Iron Maiden or Rammstein. But you know what, man? If I'm going grocery shopping and going to a local yoga class, I'm in, dude.
I wear that J-Lo hoodie way more than I should admit that I wear that J-Lo hoodie.
Oh, I get asked, they're like, are you wearing, like, I'm wearing like camo pants. And it's like, are you wearing a J-Lo hoodie? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And they're like,
dude, it's great. I love that. I love that hoodie. It's an amazing hoodie. So everybody knows John, our head of security, also the host of Spear Talk, his own podcast. But now that's we're going to end that right here. We're going to make no one ever going to want to talk to him ever again.
Yeah,
if they do, they want to come here.
Right. I interview myself from now on. No, so this is different because the other stuff is like geared. Each episode's geared to a specific topic, whether it's martial arts, human trafficking, mental health, whatever. So here, it's almost like a hodgepodge of all sorts of craziness. So we can just we have a theme, I think, each episode or kind of what we want to accomplish. But in between there, we'll talk about anything.
You're not like
be a good time.
You're not like learning how to human traffic, right?
No, yeah, I'm learning about it and like how it's events like the Super Bowl and like they bring in these people and stuff where it's a very fascinating thing. And so topics like that I actually enjoy learning about.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Now we're here on the Seemingly Unknown podcast. Now, you may be asking yourself why it's called the Seemingly Unknown podcast. I think the best part about this is John knows this story. I don't think Paul.
I have no idea.
Oh, good. This is going to be great. I love that you agreed to do a podcast where you don't even know where the name came from.
Hey, man, two friends want to do something cool. I'm down.
All right. So I'll explain to everyone where the name. I've also, as soon as we did the teasers and stuff, I kept getting asked why that name, why that name, why that name. So here's the origin story of the name. In 2016, I had my first son was born, and then we went and did a small tour. And we were in San Diego one night. This is a little bit of backstory. I had played Purple Rain on stage at Soundcheck. And Brent Smith does something that he doesn't normally do a lot and came out during the show and said, hey, you got to play Purple Rain. And I was like, no, there's like 3,000 people here. We did like two nights at the San Diego House of Blues. And I was like, no way. And then he wanted to do it like full band. And like Eric doesn't know this song. And Barry kind of knows it. But like Eric was just kind of following me, So we played it not well.
You don't say.
We had never played it before. You know what I mean? Like I'd never played that song on stage. So fast forward to the day that Prince died. So I'm at home. By the way, you guys both know. I know you both know this about me. Prince is one of my favorite artists of all time. Yep. I'm at home. With my son had woken up in the middle of the night. When they're little, they sleep in your room. Usually, if you're not a terrible, horrible parent. So I'm at home, and my son is asleep on my chest because he had kind of woken up in the middle of the night. So I guess I fallen asleep with him on my chest. So I get a text at like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. for
Seemingly unknown guy.
our old, I'm not going to say what he is. And actually, we may bleep his name out. All right, I'm going to start that over. Justin can edit this out. So I get a text from a person who works for us. And basically it said, dude, Prince is dead. Oh my God. And I was like, this person that I was talking to, we were just talking about Prince because he worked for Prince. So for me, it was, okay, this person knows this because he used to work for Prince. He's obviously still friends with people in the camp. So I tweeted out, half asleep, baby on my chest, hearing we lost the greatest of all time. I hope this isn't true. Rest in peace, Prince. What I didn't know was that's not how he found out. He found out because a relative of his, whom I will not say, was the sheriff in the town and was like the first one at the scene. So what happened was I tweeted this out. When I woke up, I had over 25 voicemails from like MSNBC, MTV News, NBC, ABC, CBS News, Sky News, BBC, every news outlet. And they all had voicemails. And they were like, we hear you knew Prince. You were the first person to announce Prince's death. And I'm like, it's 9 a.m. I'm groggy. I get on Twitter. I have, a gaggle of death threats.
Oh my God.
Dead serious. And so I was like, oh my God. And so I text the person who used to work for us. I'm like, dude, what did I do? And he was like, I told you this because I knew this way. I was like, I thought you knew. Like, I thought everyone knew.
Oh, shit.
So I was the first person to ever announce that Prince had died. I'm sure the people are going to look this up and check it. But it's so
Google it.
Days later, my buddy in London sends me the BBC News ticker, and it says, seemingly unknown guitarist Zach Myers first to announce Prince's death. So forget how many like number one songs we have. Forget how many millions of records by whatever 2016 we had sold. Seemingly unknown guitarist announces Prince's death, and I still have the picture somewhere. If I find it, we'll get it.
That has to be the headline, like our first headline.
Yeah, that's seemingly unknown podcast. That's where the name came from, and everyone always asks. So like, I think Eric Bass sometimes calls me seemingly unknown, which I think is
what better way to join a podcast with two friends and not knowing anything.
Not knowing anything about where the name came from.
Yeah, perfect.
Now let me ask you this:
Yeah.
Do you think there's people out there right now who think that Prince is still alive?
Oh, for fuck's
Probably.
sake, Sean.
For sure.
Do you ever wonder about that?
I live in Memphis, so I grew up around the Elvis thing. You know what I mean? So everyone thought Elvis was still alive. And actually, I remember Angel Fire sites? Like when you
I remember.
Like you could like have one. You could like make your own site. Like you'd be the worst graphics editor of all time, but you could make your own site. Well, there was this old Angel Fire site. Like this is AOL computer days. Like when my computer was in the kitchen. You know, your parents always put the computer in the kitchen so you weren't jerking off to porn. It was in a different place. Like that. It didn't stop me.
Sears catalog.
It didn't
Sears
stop
lingerie
me.
catalog.
It didn't. The kitchen didn't stop me anyway. But anyway, so
Like the Caesar salad seems extra runny tonight.
oh God. Oh man, this podcast is not for kids. We've already figured
There's going to be a
out.
lot of bleeping out for John, for sure.
For sure.
Hey, honey, can we get more croutons?
Oh my God. So anyway, I had found this site that had all these little like intricacies about like how Elvis was alive and kind of some convincing proof that was real. And I went down a rabbit hole, man. So like being from Memphis, you think automatically that people are alive. And so by the way, I learned this pretty recently, maybe in the last 10 years. It's not illegal to fake your death if you don't profit off of it. You can fake your death right now.
So, I mean, are you collecting royalties? Like, if you're Tupac?
That's the thing, though. If you collect royalties, I believe that's profiting off of it. So you can't. Elvis obviously made more money in death than he ever made alive.
Oh, alive, yeah, for sure.
So with Prince, though, Prince was a person who hated the spotlight, and didn't really, which I enjoy that. I enjoy people who are like that. But no, I think it was just a bad mix of whatever he did. I don't, but John, there are for sure people who think that he's still alive. There are.
When he died, like, obviously I know he's had a couple of hits, right? And so,
what did you just say?
You're such a prick.
So you obviously he's got a ton of hits, but I went back and watched those old interviews where he talked about the chemtrails and all this other stuff that people thought he was crazy about.
And now it's like people are.
I don't think he's that crazy.
Now it's people's running platform.
It's the same thing with like Nipsey Hussle, man. Like he was innovating way before a lot of other things, doing documentaries, and then he's gone. So
yeah, man. Like I've always there's those weird profiteering artists. I think that they have that, and I think.
But the thing is like we live in 2021. Like it's hard to stay mysterious and stay off of social media or somebody not noticing you or anything like that. Like
that's kind of the struggle with it for me. Like right? I enjoy the instant gratification, I guess, of social media, but after the instant gratification, I don't like much else about it. Like that's why being friends with all the Avenged guys, like they were that band was the last dudes to be on Instagram. Like truly, I think they really were. And Matt still isn't. Like Matt's not on there.
Oh, crazy.
No. So it's like, I think that there's something really cool about that. But the problem is like, here's the problem with something like that. And with social media in general, it's like when someone does die, there are crazy people everywhere who think that like these people are still alive or they fake their death. Like I remember when Michael Jackson died in 2009, we were in Canada. I remember exactly. We were in Edmonton, Canada. And it was very cold. Your girlfriend's Canadian.
Yeah, Saskatoon, so even colder.
Oh, so even colder than Edmonton. But here's the thing. Does your girlfriend think Michael Jackson's alive, by the way?
Next time I'm up there, once the border opens up, I'm going to go look for Michael Jackson.
In Canada? I just said I was in Canada. I don't think, maybe. But here's the thing. Again, would have profited off of his death, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So that's the thing. Like you can't, if you profit off of it, you can't.
Now, what does the Paisley Park... Did they get taken over by the same people at Graceland that do the museum stuff?
Yes.
Or was it vice versa? Oh,
I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's the same company. My buddy Tim went up there who was a Memphis guy. He was from originally Minneapolis, but he went up there to run it. I think he's already gone. He's already left it. But we went to that. Were you with us? You were with us.
Yeah.
When we went to that, and it was really cool. It was it was one of those things where I kind of got upset at first that we couldn't. They locked up our cameras like we were at a fucking Dave Chappelle show. Like you can't, like they put your cameras in like one of those pouches. And then I ended up enjoying that because it was like I think I got to enjoy the museum more that way. Second,
and then you and Barry stole 2 cars.
We did. We stole 2. We stole 2 cloud guitars for sure. Also, something else that I liked about that, I always feel weird going into someone's house or a place that they resided in or whatever after it's turned into a museum. But what we found out when we were there was they were already turning it into a museum. Like if you even look at the video, like when they it wasn't a crime, but the kind of crime scene video.
Yeah.
All the painting was on the walls, like where the different rooms were. He was already turning it into a museum. So I felt less weird about kind of invading his personal space. But we had this really good tour guide there who was, he was like a spiritual cat. You know what I mean? Like he was
shit. Okay.
He was very Stuart Smalley. I mean, like he you know what I mean? Like he's very, so we go in the atrium part and we're all standing there and he's like, he kind of gives this spiel about the studio and about it. And the kid was like the best tour guide I've ever had in my life by far. Just was very into what his job and what he was doing. So he finishes and he's talking about, why they opened it up and all these things. And he's like, we're in this little atrium here and I'm standing next to John and I know John, as you do, it's kind of hard. So he's like, and if you would like to, just pay your respects. And he kind of looks up and there's this glass box hanging above us that's like Prince's urn. And you're like, oh shit. Like there he is.
No way.
Yeah. Like it's just a glass, like in the atrium of the studio. Like and I'm like, it was like weird the way he said it. it's not weird that that's where it is. Cause I think it's like, I don't know, maybe
it's very Prince. That's a very Prince
it's so perfect.
Yeah.
It's so Prince that
his doves were there too, the cages.
Yeah, there were doves there. I mean,
and they were crying all over the place.
There's no way they were the same doves from the 80s.
You sure?
Right? They might be.
Well, Zach, you sent me an article about birds being robots, so you never know.
Oh,
man.
Jesus, don't start the robot.
Did you see that?
I saw that, yeah.
Did you watch the video? So that video took place in Memphis. Mary Beth Conley and Alex, I don't know why I always forget Alex's name, but I've done their show several times, and there's this kid on there that I believe the website is birdsaren'treal.com, maybe? Is that it? And
yeah, something like that.
He was on there and he was talking. Oh, dude, by the way, we do not do transitional material in case anyone was wondering.
Oh, God.
We just jumped from Prince to birds being spies.
I love how I'm supposed to be segue and everything. And we're just like, yeah, birds, Prince, segue. Okay, yeah, no, let's do this.
So anyway, I got this article that said it was like birds aren't real. And it's an interview that was done in Memphis. And they're like, she's like, this is satire, right? And he's like, no. Like, she's like, I was told this is satire. And like, he acts like so offended. Maybe we can get JR to put like a clip in here.
So this is really satire. I mean, you don't really believe that happened, correct? This is a satirical campaign to make the point that what? You're looking at me like, no, it's not satire. I really do believe this.
Honestly, it's kind of offensive.
Okay. So it's not satire.
I don't think you would say that if I said birds are real.
How insane of a
that
statement
logic
is that?
That logic made no sense. Like, no, I wouldn't laugh if you said birds are real because like that doesn't sound insane.
Have you ever had like parked under like any tree and just had every bird find a way to shit on your clean car?
I don't think that he thinks all birds are
Just
fake.
some.
I think
there's enough birds that are fake to migrate in with the flight patterns of real birds.
Is what he's saying.
Okay.
But they're FBI agents to the point of like spying on us to the highest level is what he said.
John, can you confirm or deny that?
I will say this though.
John, a former government employee, were there fake birds at the White House?
They're like the Blue Bow from Clash of the Titans, that owl. No, so the weird thing is, I went down another rabbit hole after I went. I'm not sure if birds are real.
Here we go.
But
questioning everything.
So anyway, about inflatable swimming pools.
Just say
right. It's so when you see those news reports over the years where it's like birds will randomly die in a field or this weird stuff happening. I was reading this article where people think that's just because those birds are fake, that a computer glitch or virus causes them to die. Which is why you have these weird patterns of
where like you'll see thousands of birds on the ground.
Will just randomly die in a city or a town.
The whole birds aren't real thing is weird, but that would make sense because like no one can ever explain why there are 5,000 dead birds.
Okay, but you think, I mean, they had to have done like
reason here.
an autopsy here on some birds. Like, let's figure out what's inside of these birds to make them die. And you don't think anybody's like, oh no, they're mechanical birds.
Yeah, if there's like an embalming guy who's like a bird guy, he's still like a doctor who's doing anybody
watching this,
he's like,
please come on.
What I'm saying is like the guy who's doing the autopsy on all the birds like comes out and sounds the whistle. It's like this bird has video camera for a head. Like what just happened? There was a kid named Timmy in my neighborhood when I was growing up. I didn't grow up in the best of areas, so Timmy was short a few brain cells. But Timmy would kill birds with like a pellet gun. But then
Timmy's now locked up in prison. I'm sure, right?
Timmy's probably no longer with us, if I'm guessing.
Okay, yeah.
One way or the other, he's in Shelby County Penitentiary or just no longer.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. No, for sure.
So Timmy would do like his own like taxidermying. You know what I mean? Where like Timmy would like set up dead birds like you would play with like He-Man toys. And
so did Jeffrey Dahmer. So
yeah, 100%. Timmy probably ended up being a serial killer for sure.
Yeah. So was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, his mom was hot though. Back then.
Jeffrey Dahmer's mom?
No, I don't know about Jeffrey Dahmer's mom. Timmy's mom was hot though, but I was also 11, so anyone was hot.
Any mom was hot. Any teacher was.
Didn't really matter.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like when you're growing up like that, everybody's mom's hot.
How many people do you think are going to stop paying attention to our podcast at this point?
Probably
they've already stopped watching. They've stopped listening.
Listen, here's the point. This is the first one. We don't have a format yet. We do have things that we are going to introduce into the podcast that we're very excited about. We will talk about them on another recorded podcast of this. We were actually just on with our producer about 11 seconds before we turned this on going, how do we do any of this? I don't know how to do any of this.
Yeah. We're
the weird thing
is,
is our producer thinks he's a bird, and so it's just the whole thing is just
the same thing.
Everything comes full circle, and that's all that really matters. That's what you learn about these things, is that everything comes full circle. JR actually is a bird who spies for the CIA, which is great.
Yes.
That's what it's supposed to be.
I mean, with that being said, should we get into the hot topics of what's going on in the news right now?
Paul reads the news. Paul reads the news.
Yeah.
RTN. Let's get through the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If you want to call it a Super Bowl.
I thought it was a fantastic Super Bowl.
Never bet against me.
Chiefs didn't even show up.
Here's the thing. No, they did show up. They showed up. I have a sports rule. It's been the same sports rule for 15 years.
Never bet against Brady. Yep.
N-E.
B.
No. Yeah. Sometimes I do two E's.
Never, ever bet against Tom
ATB.
Brady. Yeah.
Sometimes it's two E's. N-E-B, A-T-B. Never, ever, ever.
Ever.
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block. N-E-A, N-E-B-T-A-B, N-K-O-T-B.
Right, so let's get to the point.
It's in the game.
Never bet against Tom Brady. Here's what I think about the Super Bowl. I think that Patrick Mahomes will be the next Tom Brady. I think that he will win probably 5 Super Bowls.
Unfortunately, because they're in my division, yes.
Okay. I think that he got outplayed by a veteran, smarter quarterback. And there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, I think that Tom Brady showed up to play. Dude, the Tampa Bay Bucks defensive line was insane. Insane.
It was.
Yeah, that front seven's killer.
And it wasn't expected. I don't think it was that expected for how fast the play calling is for the Chiefs. So
I think by the middle of the second, the Chiefs were flustered. Like, I think that
they were done. They knew they had to have been done.
That's the thing. It's like when you have that guy who is that classy and just like does the deed, does the game, plays the game the way it's supposed to be. Other than deflating balls and stuff. That wasn't his fault. It was probably just some equipment manager who by far he's probably working the G League of basketball right now.
Oh, gee.
But so that when you play that guy who's played the game for that long, it doesn't matter, man. Like, that guy always shows up. He always shows up unless he doesn't have the help. And he had just enough help to make that game almost embarrassing for the former previous year Super Bowl champs.
I mean, it was embarrassing as it is.
And that's the thing is like, and there were 3 pretty bunk calls in there, right? Like in a row. And I saw people, anytime anything like this happens, you're going to get the people like posting the memes of the ref, like holding, you know what I mean? I'm like, the 31-9, the refs ain't changing a 31-9 game.
No, but there were some whack calls.
There were 3 in the beginning.
And I think Romo even said it. He's like, they got to stop watching, these flags.
Dude,
that girl did the badass job though.
She did the first female NFL official in the Super Bowl, which I thought was great.
And she's just as bad as the guys. It was awesome.
She is just as bad as the guys. You're right. Yeah. My favorite part was, and we were talking about this when we were watching the game, and I gave a ref a name, say whatever it is, Dale. There was a point where I think it was the first of those 3 bad calls, the play had been dead for like 10 seconds.
And then the flag got thrown.
You see Brady look at the ref and be like, Dale, give me a hold.
Hey.
And then Dale's like, whatever, there Mr. Brady, whatever you need, Mr. Brady. And it's like, that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like Tom was like, hey,
here's a 20. Like, let's call it a day.
And then he just threw the hold. And I was like, there were 3 bunk calls in a row, but it's like, those 3 calls aren't changing that game.
No, agreed. I mean, after the halftime, because I wanted to see the weekend for the halftime show, I stopped watching. I stopped caring.
It was over.
It's too far out of reach, in my opinion.
That halftime divided a lot of people.
What did you guys think of it?
I thought it was great.
John?
See, I think he's super talented. I think he's a great songwriter. You don't really hear anything bad about him in the media, like with bullshit fights or drama. And I thought I think it would have been a better show for me if it wasn't in COVID, if that makes sense.
No, you're right.
I know it said fans could have been on. The stage could have been in the middle.
Yeah. And I think some of the audio issues were weird because I don't know if you.
I'm with you. See, here's the thing. I'm a big Weeknd fan and have been. I've been a fan of Abel since the first record. But
Saving Abel. Oh,
yes.
yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
I felt like as good as he is, like the with the restrictions that they had, the performance was a little bit underwhelming. I still loved it. I don't like. Here's what I found. People are going to talk shit about. It doesn't matter who plays the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to talk bad about it. I thought it was great. He actually sang. You could tell that he was actually singing. I was a big fan of that. The audio was
trash.
The audio was trash. His voice was way too low because that's what kind of upset me is that he was actually singing.
The thing I'm trying to find out where it came into play was he put up $7 million of his own dollars
of his own money,
for that halftime show. And I'm like, where though? Because it didn't seem like it was that high budget of a lot of show.
Dude, I mean, I imagine how much it cost to create that like mirror maze thing.
I mean, yeah.
And then you got to think he has to pay for all the COVID testing probably 2-3 times a day.
Shit, yeah.
For that many
pyrotechnics. Oh, yeah. So
that's the thing.
Travel. I mean, I honestly like. People are like, oh, this sucks. And it's like, well, okay, the same people are like, oh, we want Metallica. That year, the pop people will be like, these guys suck, they're old. So you can't appease anyone. You can't.
Listen, unless you're Prince, going back to Prince, you can't make everybody happy. Prince had the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time. Hands down.
I agree.
I went back and rewatched the U2 one after 9/11, and that was pretty powerful stuff too. But I think Prince.
U2 is my favorite band of all time. That Prince one. The fact that and then you go.
Oh, it actually rained, which was all based on the robot bat.
The robot birds made that happen.
Yeah.
You go back and watch the thing though, the little 10-minute NFL documentary where they talk about that, and the producer calls Prince and like, Prince, it's raining, and he's like, yeah, I know it's raining. He's like, anything we can do for you? He's like, can you make it rain harder? And I was like,
so tight.
What a G.
So tight.
A G. And then when he starts playing Purple Rain, it starts raining. Come on, dude.
Dude, it gives you chill. Gives me chills just thinking about it.
Only Prince and Robot Birds can make that happen.
Yeah.
That was I actually heard that was going to be the name. There was New Power Generation, and then there was Third Eye, Prince and the Third Eye, and then his new band was going to be Robot Birds.
Okay, yeah.
That was going to be his new band name for sure.
And the first single was Riding the Chemtrails.
All right, we're through with the Super Bowl, Paul.
All right, Super Bowl's out of the way.
Give us the other hot news topic.
I feel like this is the hottest thing
I'm scared
post Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Who puts Gorilla Glue in their hair?
That lady.
What?
How does that happen?
Listen, So when I found our friend Chris Porter, the way I found Chris Porter's comedy was a buddy played it for me and said, this is literally you. I've heard you say these exact same things. And he has a skit where he talks about taking the label off of things, which I've been saying for years. Like, let the weak take themselves out.
Weed out the stupid.
Dude, take hot off of coffee. And Chris says, yeah, dude, you know it's hot. You know what I mean? It's like and Chris always said, do not eat off of paint. And he's like, eat it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if you do not know at this point where we are in the internet age that you do not need to put Gorilla Glue on any part of your body.
Sure. Yes.
You deserve to have a half head of hair, I think.
Now,
personally.
in all fairness, I had a lot of friends that were into the punk rock scene. They did the Elmer's glue.
100%.
And you were able to wash it out. It took a while, but you were able to wash it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, keep out of reach of children. This is permanent stuff. And you're putting it in your hair?
Dude, Gorilla Glue. That's like putting super glue. John, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm going to put this back. I got a bird bath for my birthday last year, and the plow guy hit it. And so in the springtime, in order to glue it back together, we're talking 45-pound pieces. I used a couple drops of Gorilla Glue, and dude, I tried hitting this thing with 4 other cars. You can't break it now. And so I'm like, put it in your hair.
Hitting it with 4 other cars.
Right, because the robot birds were back.
Yeah.
And
that's why you got the bath for the robot birds.
How do you? I want to see if they rust. And so you're kind of like, why would this person put this in their head? Like, what? I don't get the backstory of it. I guess I saw the pictures. She looks like an idiot. Hopefully she doesn't get sick, or because you can get poisoned with that stuff through your scalp and blood.
100%. I saw today that some doctor in Beverly Hills said they would fix it for her. Here's the thing, though. I had never seen the actual video, and then someone posted it, and I saw it on Instagram. It's crazy. I love going back and looking at these like instant celebrities. You know what I mean? And going back and like, if you go like 3 photos before that video, there's like 200 likes. She had like 400 followers until yesterday, and now she has 700,000. That's the thing, is like we like as a society, we cling to the dumbest shit imaginable, and like that's what we get satisfaction from. It's so dude, this chick had like 800 followers, and now she's like, literally, if you go like 3 photos before that, like you'll get like, it's insane. There's like 200 likes on it. And then you do this and it's like everyone's coming out like, oh, we'll help you fix. Like, it's like all about this weird press that you get from doing dumb shit.
So I guess my next question, John, you might be able to answer this. Does she get a sponsorship from Gorilla Glue?
100%. She has a case of Gorilla Glue on her doorstep right now.
How does Gorilla Glue not get ahead of this and like commercialize the shit out of it?
Literally get ahead of it.
Get ahead of this. Did you see their tweet?
No.
It says, I think it's insane to say this at this point, but please do not put our products on your body or in your hair or something.
Now, I know us 3 are looking for a Clorox sponsorship, so I will snort a half a thing of Clorox if that gets us some followers.
We are looking for new sponsors, so if John snorts Clorox, hey, you won't get coronavirus that way.
Gorilla Glue, Clorox, anybody who wants to get out of it.
Hey, as soon as you snort that Clorox, you're ditching coronavirus forever. You're dodging that shit like
you're asymptomatic for sure immediately.
I'm into it, whatever, man. So why do you think people gravitate, like Paul said, to these ridiculous, like, okay, so what I see, after I hear you talk about, Zach, about her followers jumping, do you think it was intentional to just do something crazy, a crazy stunt? Like, how do you, like, what's the point? Like, if it's not Gorilla Glue, next week it will be some guy that was eating Tide Pods again, or it's just weird body fascination of like doing crazy shit that makes no sense.
I real quick to jump in, I think that anybody, like civilians, everybody is just trying to find something new to listen to instead of politics, instead of everything else that the news is broadcasting. It's like,
I'm here for it.
Hey, let's see what's going on in the wild world of.
I mean, it's to me, like, if you go all the way back, it's kind of how reality TV started. We're tired of stuff being written. Like, I want to watch really bad, drunk white women who have way too much money go to brunch every day. You know what I mean? Like,
and take out their husband forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's you get so succumbed by the actual reality. You want to watch someone else's reality of their just completely off the rails life. So it's like when you see things like this. To think about one of John and I's favorite people, Nusret Goche, the Salt Bay guy. Mm-hmm. That guy, how many followers I wonder did that guy have before someone just literally videoed him doing what he already did every single day?
And I think what's different with him, though, he wasn't looking for that fame, but once that bead hit, it was game over. And
but that's the thing. He already had restaurants, at least 3 restaurants. So it was like,
he's a world-class butcher. So he was a guy.
Butcher. Yeah. And by the way, in case anyone doesn't know, John and I one time went to Salt Bay. The restaurant's called Nusret, but John and I went to the one in New York City 3 times in 72 hours. 3 times in 48 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
We did dinner, lunch, dinner, or lunch, dinner, brunch.
We did dinner, lunch, and dinner. And by the way, there were 2 lovely young ladies there who were just there eating lunch. But of course, he came by whenever he hung out with us, dude. He like no English. You know what I mean? And then like he was like talking to these girls. And then so I was like, dude, when we came back for dinner, I go, I bet those girls walk in here. And sure enough, dude, like clockwork later, right at closing time. So Sape's slaying, dude, I think.
Oh, has to be.
Dude,
And he's on like a Segway or like a Razor or something. Doesn't he take that to work or the hotel?
He was like
No.
he had like one of the little foot scooter things. That dude's just
I can't take that dude serious ever.
That dude's just dumping lube out like this all over the place. Dude. Just KY, just like little pebbles of KY just falling down his arm.
There you go, baby girl. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, he just slaying.
I guess. Go ahead. I guess
I'm gonna say he'd make a good killer. Like if he was a Jeffrey Dahmer new age, he would seduce you and then literally cut you up and then really prepare you like it was a perfect dish.
Yeah, for sure. That maybe that's what we ate that night.
I don't care. It was really good.
I don't care. You left with your bellies full and bank accounts empty, I'm sure.
Here's the thing. It's like we walked into that place thinking like, oh, this is going to be all social media fluff. Like this is all it's going to this day. And I'm, you know me as a cook and a person who loves food.
Yeah.
The best steak I've ever had in a restaurant, hands down. Amazing.
You know what I put up, and I talked to a lot of people about this, like my top steakhouses, and it's been majority of the ones I went to are with you, Zach, and John.
Outback, Longhorns.
I
take that as a badge of honor, by the way.
It is. What's the place we went to in Toronto? That old brick. It was like an old house.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about? That one.
Charlie was there. Chris,
Charlie was there.
The whole crew.
It was like it felt like it started with like an MC, like something like that. I don't know. Hold on. Let's look this up. Hold on. I'm going to look it up. We don't have like
find out.
We don't have
that's
like
up there.
We don't have like a Jamie like Joe Rogan, so we got to look this up ourselves. Was that in Toronto?
Was that the day? Because we went to that water park up there.
That's
right?
Edmonton.
That was Edmonton.
Edmonton. I'm sorry, Edmonton.
No, we went to this hibachi place after Edmonton.
Where Zach had to bring home an extra bottle of that sauce for the
mustard, the mustard sauce they have.
Yep.
We used it in our bunks.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna find this on here.
We'll research it. We'll get back to the public after.
Well, you know what? We'll get JR. We'll look it up and we'll just have it like pop up.
There you go.
Take a picture. My new way of finding pictures on my iPhone is just typing in the search like where we were, because I always remember where we were.
I
don't know if we took pictures there though. It was like an old house. It was like an old house,
and it was cool because we sat upstairs in like the big hall.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. I thought that was a good steak place.
With that segue, we'll go into the next news topic. I saw today, a woman smuggled in cactus into New Zealand.
What?
Did you hear about this? I swear to God, there's a woman who taped cacti to her body, like multiple different cacti, and smuggled them into New Zealand.
I didn't. So for people who don't know, we kind of talk about some of the shit we're going to talk about before.
Like, what? I'm throwing this one out. I'm throwing this one out. Like,
also, with the latency, at first I thought you said smuggled cat piss into New Zealand.
also cat piss, yes.
Okay, so
like succulents and
why?
A couple. Why do women obsess over a lot of plants nowadays?
I think the reason why she got busted is because of there's a produce law. You can't travel to some countries where it's like, I swear to God, like plants or agriculture.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a cactus?
But
what are you doing?
Okay, so she's put some to her stomach. Do you think she actually put some inside her?
Oh, okay.
God.
This is where I was bringing you in, John, because I had a feeling you would ask the hard questions.
John brings up the tough stuff.
I actually had a cactus when I was little. It died. The top fell off, one of those tall ones. There was a nest of spiders inside it.
Oh,
gross.
What killed it? Were they robots?
No, androids.
Oh, okay. You know what I learned? My last time in Arizona, when Paul texted me what time's lobby call for.
Oh yeah, lobby call in 5, and we still didn't hang out the whole time.
We still didn't hang out the whole time I was there. But what I learned about, I was playing golf, and when I learned about cactuses, do you know that it takes a cactus 70 to 90 years to start growing an arm?
That blows my mind. Like a saguaro.
That's insane.
And this woman just slapped it against her fupa like nothing.
Just looks like it.
And this lady just duct taped it to between her boobs.
Just because she wanted some succulents and some.
What was the gist? Like, she got caught. What was her story, Paul?
She served, like, she's doing like 100 hours of community service, and like, I don't.
Cactus, dude, that's not worth it.
Because you're trying to smuggle in a new plant, probably.
Did she keep the cactus?
You can't order.
I think they let her keep it.
Dude, I can order gold-plated baby waffles on Amazon and have them here tomorrow. You can't order a cactus, bro?
I want the follow-up if you end up doing that.
But what, you can't order a cactus on Amazon?
In New Zealand?
Or a fake cat? Well, whatever.
In New Zealand, though?
I'm sure New Zealand has Amazon.
But they might not have the cactus in Arizona that they want in New Zealand. That's the problem.
Okay, listen. You know what? They don't have the.
I stand with her, man.
I like.
This is why I bring the hard pressing news to you guys and let you guys debate it.
Listen, they don't have the same kind of tea I like at our Wisconsin house. I don't bring it up there with me, and that's legal.
Do you wish you had it though? Sometimes
I do. I do wish I had it, but it's like I'm not doing anything illegal. Like, I'm not stealing a plant and like taking it. Was it her own plants? Did we realize if she stole plants? You don't know. First of all,
one, who knows? Two, do people actually care? Like,
no.
What harm is that doing to anybody in New Zealand?
I have no idea.
Like, you're home of Hobbittown, like, right? Like,
yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, that's where they shot Lord of the Rings.
Well, the Shire is very specific to its plant life, and so I think they wanted like that southwestern vibe to.
Okay, got it.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
That's where they shot Lord of the Rings there in Hoboken, New Jersey. Both places. No.
Both places.
Okay,
so castles.
Speaking of weird news, I sent you guys the thing about the guy who placed the bet on himself, the streaker. Did you see that?
No. What?
Okay, so there was the Super Bowl guy that he ran on the field.
Yeah.
Here's why I said to do it. There was a text message going around virally that said, I got to find it. It said, and I don't know if it was a text. I think the text might have been made up, but what I don't think was made up was the actual story, because he just did an interview. So it's a screenshot of a text that said, met the Super Bowl streaker at Jay Alexander's while having lunch before leaving Tampa. He bet 50 grand on a prop bet at plus 750 that there would be a streaker at the Super Bowl. His buddy went out first as a diversion. So when he got caught quickly, as his friend did, cost him $1,000 to get out of jail, and he cleared $374,000 in the
Genius.
Bet.
That's genius. John, I know what we're doing next year.
That bet is going to be so different next year because of that.
Oh, that's going to be the top bet on like Barstool.
Changed 100%. He changed the betting. They changed the betting of that, and I thought it was fake, maybe because of the text message. But I guess there's now a radio interview of him talking about how he did it.
I mean, you think about it. You can bet on anything at this rate. You can bet on the color of the Gatorade that they're going to pour on the coach. Like,
so I'll tell you a story. After we played a show in Michigan, we opened this venue, 20 Monroe in Grand Rapids. Like, we were one of the first two shows there. Afterwards, myself, our buddy Mark, and a couple of friends, Matt, Jeff Brannon, we all flew to Vegas for the Super Bowl. We were going to go to Vegas and watch the Super Bowl at Topgolf. Well, at Topgolf, they had like all these prop bets, like all these weird side bets. Like you said, like what color shoes is Tom Brady going to be wearing?
Yeah.
Well, one of the bets was, what song is Lady Gaga going to open on? And it was like, you could bet up to 15 grand, and it was like 3-1 or something. And I was like, I know so many people on her crew. So I start like texting all my friends. I'm like, hey, listen, I'll give you $2 grand. Like, whatever.
First.
What song are you guys open on? I'm going to FaceTime you. Just turn it towards the set list a little bit. We're just FaceTiming.
Casually, yeah.
We're just FaceTiming. So nobody budges, dude. They're all like, we sign NDAs. We can't do this. Like, dude, I could win so much right now.
Sell your soul to the devil.
I appreciate people who take NDAs seriously, but at the same time, yeah, fuck those guys. So I literally texted like 4 of our people, and they all like, dude, I can't. I'm like, dude, just give me the initials. I don't care what it is. Tell me. And they didn't do it. I think she ended up opening on like America the Beautiful or something anyway, but it was very strange. But I'm still upset about it. Anytime I see those guys, I still give them shit too.
Rightfully so.
As you should.
It's selfish, really.
John, have you ever abided by an NDA?
Well, you have to, right?
You better.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you sign the NDA, obviously with an organization or whatever it is that you want to be a part of, so why would you break that?
Yeah.
Right?
Touche.
Oh, there's lots of people.
So you haven't spread the dirt around about any Shinedown stuff?
I could care. I mean, people always ask me, "Oh, what was it like working with the Nickelback guys?" And man, those guys are the best. And there's no like I don't get like these people too, especially the government. They'll write these books like Tell All, or you're kind of like, "What do you? Is this just for you? Like, what do you? I don't
self gratification."
Yeah.
There's certain stories that should come out organically if both parties agree, but outside everything else.
You're talking about just dirt books, just straight dirt books.
Just
Like,
dirt.
Right. Like, what do you unless it's the artist doing it or like the prolific person that's about doing it?
Sure.
Everyone else is just like, dude, oh, you're the tour manager for the Black Key. Like, who cares? Why are you writing a book?
Yeah.
Can we talk about where you got those big ass headphones at? Where did those come from?
Mine are John's. I'm like, I got some.
No, John's, dude. John looks like those are like fancy like robot headphones. What are those?
Yeah, I got them because they cancel out the noise.
In your head?
Podcast stuff. Yeah,
right.
And we're actually going for a Skull Candy sponsorship. So I'm Skull
Candy. Get on my boy John over here.
Yeah. So if you guys want to
John Silver Spear.
Yeah, if you guys want to go to Five Below, use the code Seemingly Upset Podcast.
Upset.
Seemingly upset.
That's what this podcast is going to be next week.
Seemingly let down for sure.
Let down podcast. What else do you got, Paul? Do you have anything else for us?
I just thoughts because I was thinking about this the other day, and is it insane? Yes, absolutely. It crushed me. Is it fair to say that MTV was way ahead of its time with Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yeah.
Way ahead
think
of its time.
so.
Because now look at what we have. You know, Jose Canseco's fighting some guy off Barstool Sports.
Such bullshit, though. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't watch it.
Dude,
was it good?
It was my first time.
Got dropped in 5.
I gotta talk about this. This is my first. I'm a huge Barstool guy. I love Dave Portnoy.
Is it Rough and Rowdy? Is that
Rough and Rowdy? I
Okay.
watched my first Rough and Rowdy fight the other night with at my friend Brandon's house. It was me, my friend Brandon, my friend Zach, my friend Jacob. So we watched it. I had never seen it. Apparently this is like they get these things every time they come out. And what it is they'll like go to a city and all it is, there's like 35 fights. It's 3 1-minute rounds. Okay. And it's just dudes like, Dan from Waffle House and then like JoJo who works at AutoZone. Like these dudes
are just random civilians.
100%, unless there's like a celebrity headliner or whatever. But to me, that makes fighting so interesting.
I mean, it's like bum fights. Like,
yeah, but you got to wear gloves. You're wearing gloves. You're doing the real deal, and I think that's cool. Like, I think that you're doing it. Like my mic stand's falling now. You're doing it the real way. You know what I mean? Like you have to do it the real way, and I enjoy that. I think that's really cool. Like comparatively, you know what I mean? To like a real boxing match, like. Some of those exhibition fights that we saw, like with the Tyson thing, like it was okay, but like. This was like and by the way, so the Canseco thing, there's varying situations about how much money he made. Someone said $1 million, someone said $500,000, someone said $250,000. Dude, he threw the fight 20 seconds in. He was fighting an intern. And like literally like 20 seconds in, he just fell down and was like, oh, he's like my shoulder. And then acting like his shoulder hurt. This dude just took the money and run. He's always been the most cheating bastard. And then busted out a bunch of other like cheating. Dude, he's the worst, dude. He's the worst.
Okay, but I grew up in Oakland, California, where I
had a Bash Brothers poster on my wall.
That was like the era of baseball that I loved, like Canseco, McGuire, Ricky Henderson, Dennis Eckersley. Like that was like my childhood.
100%.
So I was like, okay, Canseco's boxing, and he threw it.
He totally threw the fight. You can. You would
The
be
dude,
hard. You would be
Conseco
so
had to
hard.
have had 50 plus pounds on the kid, right?
Oh my god,
He was massive compared to the kid.
the tail of the tape. If it was a teeter totter, it would have looked like this. It was ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
Do you think he bet on himself to fall?
I was just about to ask that.
Plus all the money that he made,
Plus his guarantee?
I would 100% believe that. Like, it was such a sham. Like, you could tell, like, I think Dave Portnoy was kind of pissed. All the other guys from Barstool were kind of pissed because they're like, he just threw this fight. When he 100% threw the fight.
Especially if you got people buying into it. Like, that's
100%. By the way, I don't have a corona. I have strep throat, and it's the worst. And I keep coughing, and I haven't coughed all day.
Where's your sucker? You had a sucker.
It's gone. I already ate it all.
He sucked it off already.
It's already gone. How long have we been doing this?
We've been doing it a minute. I mean, how long are we just doing like a short?
I think we're going to try to keep these at about an hour at a time, but I'm not sure.
Well, we're about an hour.
We have segments coming up. We have some things that we have planned. We're going to get to them. This is our first one. We're just trying it. We hope everybody enjoys watching three friends literally talk about nothing and everything at the same time. That's kind of the goal of this thing. We're going to have to get John to talk more next time. John didn't talk a lot.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so blown away by that cactus still that I can't even think straight.
I wasn't ready for the cactus thing.
I'm gonna say, and I had to throw out a curveball to you guys because like they're not gonna know anything about this.
Yeah, so not to keep going digging into this cactus shit, but how do you go on Google and type in cactus smuggling? How do you find this article?
I just looked up the most insane news I can find.
That's great.
And I was like, what are people gonna want to listen to us talk about? So
he's doing the job that we asked him to do.
You asked me to look up insane news, so this is what I found.
That's great. I also had an idea where Paul reads tweets. We got to get you to start reading tweets sometimes.
And we have to have people write in, like if anybody's paying attention or hasn't even gotten this far into the podcast.
What's Twitter, John? Seemingly unknown pod. We'll get JR to put it in here, but
seemingly who cares?
It's on Instagram, Twitter.
Seemingly upset podcast.
Seemingly bummed out on wasted time.
Yeah, the head photo is actually that robot bird from Clash of the Titans.
Oh, cool.
And he's holding a cloud guitar.
That's great. That's even better. So we'll have the links that are so seemingly, but also I want to do a thing. You know, I would always hear, even like single days or married days, I would always hear like about all these things that, like all the weird dudes that like slide into like hot girls like DMs.
Girls are gonna have to write in.
We gotta get girls to send us weird dude DMs. Same thing too. Like if you like dudes get them way less. I get them.
You don't say
from
other dudes. Yeah,
from everybody. From everyone. I get strange DMs from everyone.
I send you strange DMs all the time.
Yeah, Paul sends me strange DMs. So what we need to do is we got to get some friends of ours who are girls to just like send us like, and like we'll
strange shots.
Yeah, we'll block out their embarrassment. We're not going to say who they are. Paul's like, maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. I think
you just get one about me in there.
Yeah, Paul sent one.
Like,
Paul sent this too.
Yeah, what the hell?
Kate Beckinsale sends us one that Paul sent her.
Yeah. Please respond. I really love you.
Yeah,
slay me like you slay the lichens, you bitch.
Paul's like, I'll shave your cats and wear their hair.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I'll import you to New Zealand next to my cactus.
I'll take you to me. Yeah.
It'd be great. I can't wait for that. Anyway,
the other thing I think we're going to do is we're going to work on a Patreon page. If that's Patreon, Patron, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
we're going to work on a Patron page too. Yeah,
and do some really cool weekly stuff too, where it's very like top 10 lists or.
We'll do a lot of rankings on there. We're still working on that.
They have to be bizarre items, though. I feel like at this rate, like an engraved rock, like that just says "seemingly who cares."
Seemingly who cares podcast.
We're actually bringing back our slammers and pogs. Seemingly no pogs.
Have we looked into getting those made
one day? We should get pogs made, dude.
We're going to talk about everything on here: wrestling, music. Marty Jannetty.
I think we're going to end up talking a lot about Marty Jannetty.
A lot about Marty Jannetty. Like,
if I don't hear his name or a poem he wrote recently, I don't want to even be a part of this.
In every episode, we will bring up Marty Jannetty.
Marty Jannetty has to come up in every single episode that we do, because in our text group, there's a whole thing about Marty Jannetty, which is one of the Rock and Roll Express, in case you were wondering. But
the Rockers.
Sorry, he wasn't the Rock and Roll Express. He was the Rockers. I always say it wrong, and that time I actually was like, I think I just said it right. And then John, of course,
wrong.
Who was the Rock and Roll Express then?
That was the two guys by you, right?
Yeah,
down in Memphis.
Yeah, they're from
Memphis wrestlers. Yeah. That was before my era. But.
Most great wrestlers are from Memphis.
Oh, they're from the South in general. My favorite tag team of all time is from the Midwest, though.
Who we got?
LOD.
Wow.
Legion of Doom. Road Warriors. That's dude. Are you kidding? How do you not think they're one of the most monumental?
For sure.
They're my top.
Them and the Bushwhackers for me were big.
The battle between Legion of Doom and Demolition, dude. It was like Mad Max meets Road Warrior meets RoboCop. And
old school WCW logo.
Yeah. Hands down. So remind me in another episode when we talk about wrestling, I'll tell you my Bushwhacker story when I was a kid.
There's a Bushwhacker story.
It is going to blow your mind. You're like, there's no way it's in it.
They're going back on tour this year. It's like a 40th anniversary.
Stop.
And I just saw an article, the recent pictures. Dude, they're in like really good shape.
Stop this.
Yeah, like they're gonna do some really cool. I swear to God.
Who's gonna be with
this?
I swear to God.
Who's gonna be with them?
I don't know because they're not. I have no idea. So I don't know if it's just like the cross promotion stuff where AEW will bring you in for a week or whatever. But I mean, they're in the WWE Hall of Fame. Who says they can't come back? I mean, the Head Shrinkers came back a couple years ago.
Headbangers?
Bring back the
Head Shrinkers?
Whatever.
Tomato. We got the Rock and Roll Express, the Rockers, the Head Shrinkers.
There's a lot of head. There's a lot of head in wrestling. So I get confused all the head in wrestling.
Indeed. And we'll talk about everything on here. We'll talk about lots of things in life and news and sports and wrestling. And we're going to have guests. I think the guest format's going to be a little different when we have guests. I don't really want to do an interview show. I think maybe we'll ask a couple questions, but no matter who the guests are, I think we should just make them a part of the conversation.
100%.
That's kind of what I think. I think it'll be more fun for everybody. You know, I do interviews all the time against my will. I don't want to do most of them, but I think having a format that's more open, where it's like it feels like a hang, is very important. You know, I think that.
And if any questions are asked, they have to be just outlandish and
that's what I'm saying. Like, and I think for you guys watching, like, I think that'll be the more fun format to go with. I think it'll just be a lot more entertaining to kind of have that. So anyway, from Paul, from John, and myself, thank you. I don't get nervous ever, and I was very nervous for this. It was our first time. We'll get the wheels on it. We're self-funding all this. We're doing it all, so that's why I think John's going to start working on the Patreon page. Also, if any ginormous companies like Amazon want to throw us a sponsorship, we'll take it. Probably not.
Or Marty Jannetty.
Marty Jannetty's wrestling school.
If he's listening, please come on the show. We'd love to have you. Please, for the love of God,
come on the show, Marty Jannetty. We would love that very much.
He's booked out for sure.
For sure, he's doing what we don't know. What if he's just?
We have a good idea.
What if Marty Jannetty's just doing Zoom calls for people for like $30 a pop, where he's wrestling old school '90s wrestling?
What's the thing? I'd pay to watch it.
I'll fight Marty Jannetty for sure. I'll fight you.
Okay, all right. Next, Rough and Rowdy, John Guarnieri versus Marty Jannetty.
Yes. Barstool Sports, get at us. That's
dude. All right, Prince.
Secret Service versus Marty Jannetty
versus drug dealer killer.
Dude, that's the fight. That's the fight.
You know,
I'm putting it out there right now. Marty Jannetty versus. Would you actually box him?
Marty,
look at it.
Yes.
The pause was so good. Would you actually box him?
It has to be on next episode.
Oh, my internet's slow.
I have no problem boxing Marty Jannetty.
All right,
tonight, tomorrow.
Both days, tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Paul, John, and myself, thank you for tuning in to the Seemingly Unknown podcast, our first episode. We would like to thank our sponsors. Nobody. We don't have any of those yet.
Nobody.
We will get there. But thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.